how if we should take 1 basis point, 10 basis points from every single transaction. In the end, we said, why we should do that? We don't care about making money.
You've basically created the most profitable company on the face of the planet per employee. How the hell did you do that?
By pure luck. I told you.
Welcome to another episode of Simply Bitcoin IRL. It's an absolute honor today to have Paolo Ardoino join me. Thank you, Paolo, for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
CEO of Tether. So I recently saw that you came to the United States. You're welcome to the White House. You got a standing ovation. How did that feel?
Very weird and crazy because I came to the United States. I'm 41 now. I came into the United States for the first time in my life when this year, the 2nd of March 2025. And after 4 months, I think it was the 18th of July 2025, I got to meet the president. A stablecoin law was signed. So it's like, I think it was a very, very compressed arc of time where a lot of things happened. I had to spend a lot of time in the United States to explain Tether, to explain Bitcoin. I stayed 2 months in DC to meet with regulators, lawmakers, to explain what Bitcoin is about, but also what Tether is doing in the world, why Tether is one of the best allies to the United States for the US dollar hegemony, but as well as making sure that the US can become and will become the digital asset and Bitcoin capital of the world. Being Italian, I was born in the 80s, looking at and watching all the movies from the US with where the US was leading everything, and felt like in the last 4 years, something changed because the US was, for the first time in history, not leading the technology, and now it's getting back on track.
Yeah, when I saw the video of President Trump naming you by name and you standing up in the front row, I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. What was the significance of the Genius Act that was passed, specifically the stablecoin regulation bill? How did that change? What was the significance of it?
The Genius Act is a very important piece of law because it creates a template for stablecoins. I'm a Bitcoiner and I love Bitcoin. I think it's the most perfect form of money. We saw in 2014 the opportunity to use the same technology that Bitcoin uses to transport fiat currencies and the dollar. We started that in 2014. Until 2024, no one cared about stablecoins. No one thought it was a good idea. At least in the Western world, in the rich world, people were skeptics. This year seems like everyone and their sisters want to do a stable coin also because of the Genius Act. That is, in my opinion, is a great thing. Competition is always good. It's how technology improves. But as a Bitcoin lover, I think that it's important to put everything in context. And I think that I'm not a big fan of all the other altcoins and blockchains. But I think that stable coins have a reason to exist because not everyone out there understands Bitcoin yet. And everything is relative. You have people that live in emerging markets like Bolivia or Argentina, where we do Bitcoin education there, but people there have bigger problems, and their main worry in this moment is that the fact that the Argentinian peso lost 98% of its value against the US dollar. So the only thing that they see with their eyes is a dollar. So they want a dollar, that their mind is focused to get a dollar because they can beat already their national currency by X 100%. That's why stablecoins, while in the United States, for example, you don't have much need of a stablecoin, in my opinion, elsewhere, and that's why I say all is relative, you have a strong need of a stablecoin because the current options are very bad. That's why we focused on building a digital dollar that could serve 500 million users. Just a few days ago, we crossed the mark of 500 million users, and we have around 183 billion of dollars under management for USDT. And when the Genius Act passed, we actually were able to explain, all this, what we're doing in Africa, in Central South America, in Asia, in terms of dollar hegemony, buy back the US treasuries. We are probably the 17th largest holder of US treasuries in the world. And at the same time, I think that the Genius Act allowed us also to look at the United States as an opportunity, as a new market. Because with the previous administration, there was Operation 2.0, the OCC was trying to kill banks that were supporting crypto, and that was not good. So now that at least there is clarity, and the Genius Act is a statement of clarity of the will of the government to support this technology, then we felt confident that we could enter the United States, because then there was going to be a rule of law Rumble, and there was a framework for us to operate in the United States. And so we are entering the United States. We believe that we have invested in Rumble. We are working with Rumble to build a Rumble wallet that will have Bitcoin, USDT, and USAT and Tether Gold inside, so that we start with a 51 million user base, that is the active user base of Rumble. And so all that is possible through the Genius Act.
I'm a huge fan of Rumble as a content creator, free speech platform, and the fact that they're integrating a non-custodial wallet, I think is a huge, it's a game changer. Now, Paolo, I have a question for you. Do you believe that stable coins are an on-ramp to Bitcoin eventually?
I think that is the ultimate case. I was a little bit kind of criticized. I mean, I used to speak up my mind, and I tried to do it in a way that, I want to be objective and logical in everything. At least I try in everything I say. Once I said, maybe in 50 years, will be no need of USDT. So the point, I don't like companies that try to protect one product for the sake of protecting it just because it makes money today. To me, the ultimate goal is that USDT is just a representation of the US dollar, gives the ability to move it with less friction and all that. But the ultimate best form of currency that we will have in 50 years is Bitcoin. There will be, I think, the need of few things like a generational change. I mean, older people, for example, they don't trust Bitcoin yet because they don't understand Bitcoin. My grandmother was always telling me, I trust three people: my doctor, my priest, and my banker. Right? So she was coming and was born in a very small village in Italy, but that is kind of not everyone, of course, but the majority of the older generation is rooted in this concept, and that's fine. I think freedom also means that we should give the freedom of people to choose what they use. But with the new generations, I think there is more, people are more prone to use Bitcoin as their main source of stability for their wealth. Also, on the other side, in order to fill the gap between USDT and Bitcoin, so USDT is a dollar and Bitcoin, I think we created something in the middle. It's called Tether Gold. If you are in Argentina, you have the Argentinian peso, so you're here. Then having a step towards USDT is a huge step. And then eventually you will move on the staircase. If you're in the United States, if you have USDT, you say, well, I have already the dollar, I have 2 bank accounts, 2 credit cards, and debit cards. But maybe you don't understand yet Bitcoin. You need, though, a step towards Bitcoin. So we created Tether Gold. Many Bitcoiners hate gold. They feel like gold is competing with Bitcoin. And I think that is the wrongest assumption. Gold is competing with the dollar, is not competing with Bitcoin. So we created Tether Gold as a way to make the step towards Bitcoin even easier in the Western world, where if you're in the United States and you don't understand Bitcoin, but you know very well gold because it has been our friend throughout the last 5,000 years. You buy gold and you can use gold tokens as a way to hedge against the fact that the US is printing $3 trillion per year. With $1 trillion goes in interest rates, $1 trillion goes into weaponry and defense, and the third one is healthcare and all that. And that is the best currency in the world. The US has the best currency, fiat currency in the world. So if that is the best currency in the world, imagine all the others, right? So even for the United States, since everything is relative, they need to move towards something. The lucky ones, the ones that have the time and the opportunity to understand Bitcoin sooner, they will move to Bitcoin already. But the others need something, because we need to help people, right? To me, it's almost like a 3D chess game with the future and with the risk of what could happen in the future in terms of instability. So that's why we have Tether Gold.
What you said is inspirational, because again, if you come from the West, you don't realize how financially privileged you are. But I'm originally from Venezuela, and you hear stories of people using Tether as their bank account, essentially, because if they put their money in the bank, it could be seized, right? And they use Tether as that mechanism, and you're seeing that across the global South. Now, when you guys started Tether back in 2014, did you have any idea that all of this was going to happen?
No, it's impossible. I mean, in 2014, I was discussing with Giancarlo, that is the person that created USDT. We thought the biggest market cap that USDT could have was between $100 million, and if we were very, very lucky, 1 billion. But 1 billion seemed like, very, very crazy, very like, 40 years in the future we could get to 1 billion. And even the market size, the user base, 500 million users, you can find it online, you can find it on our website. There is also this website called USDT.network. You go there, you spoke about Venezuela, you see the exact moment when USDT became USDT. That is March 2020. Everyone knows or remembers, I think, what happened in March 2020 was the pandemic. The pandemic was a very, sad event, of course, but very interesting event from multiple point of views, because it accelerated the downfall of many economies around the world. Of course, also the Western economies, but even more so, the economies in emerging markets. From 2017, that was the first altcoin bubble, and a lot of young generation kids went into crypto, to 2020. All these young kids, like in emerging markets, in developing countries, there are more kids, so the average age is lower. So there is more younger population that is more prone to do new things. And so from 2017 to 2020, these kids learn crypto. 2020 arrives, March arrives, and suddenly there is the pandemic. And in all the emerging markets, another common denominator is that people go in the black markets and buy cash bills, dollars, right? So they go in the street, they buy some dollars, and they give, for example, back the Argentinian pesos. So they buy the dollars with Argentinian pesos. But that event was significant because for the first time in history, the parents could not get in the streets because there was curfew. You could not, in many countries, you could not get in the streets. You were banned to go out. And also, if you were going out, the television would tell you you were going to die if you catch the virus. So people were not going out. But still, we're sitting around the kitchen table thinking what I'm doing and what I can do, how I can help my family. For the first time, it's the kids that told to their parents, I can hold the US dollar on my smartphone and it's more secure to keep it under the mattress. And you see the curves at the beginning of 2020,
wow.
USDT was $5 billion, $4 billion of market cap. At the end, it was more than 40.
So, and you think it was the pandemic that was the catalyst?
Yes.
And it just snapped. People realized I can use this as a bank account, essentially.
If you see the chart, is like this growing slowly until March 2020, and then pop.
How did you feel when that happened?
Well, actually, I wish I could tell you we understood it when it happened. I understood this 1 year ago.
Did you get chills? Were you like, like, oh my God?
It's very humbling because last year we were like, okay, now we have to study this thing, why it happened. Sometimes you create products that work. From 2020 to 2024, we spent less $10 million in marketing in the entire, in 4 years.
Yeah.
And we have 500 million users. I wish I could tell you that it all happened because we were really good, but the reality, and it kind of is a sad reality, the success of USDT is directly proportional to the success of many economies. But thank God there is USDT because it's offering like a lifeline. Yeah. And so yes, it's chilling and it's very humbling to me because, I mean, at least we created something that people use so I'm very proud of what the team did and the outcome that's happening. So that's why we feel so lucky to be in this position that we spend all our time to build new technologies that empower freedom of speech. We invest in Rumble, we invest in all these products that will continue and carry forward Bitcoin, the Bitcoin ethos.
Yeah, the Bitcoin ethos and the freedom virus that's spreading across the world. So Paolo, you're a very humble guy, but you've basically created the most profitable company on the face of the planet per employee. How the hell did you do that?
By pure luck. I told you.
I said you were humble.
Yeah, but think about this. The reason why I'm saying, and it's not kind of fake humbling, being humble, is that until 2022, Tether did not make that much money. The interest rates on the US treasuries were low. So how I could predict that? We created a product that is so simple. I think that the genial idea that Giancarlo had, and we carried forward, and I carried forward for also all these years, is that the product is so simple. When we designed it, we could put a transaction fee on it, like Visa and MasterCard. There is no transaction fee. So we discussed how if we should take 1 basis point, 10 basis points from every single transaction. In the end, we said, why we shouldn't do that? We don't care about making money. In 2014, the interest rates really were zero. Let's create a product that people will use. In the future, we'll see, I don't care. And basically, we put zero as transaction fee. And it happened that the way we're making money is because the US, even the US, now the inflation is so high that the interest rate spiked up. That's why we have the most profitable company in the world by employee. It's because simply we are not greedy at the beginning. If you create technology that is the most open technology, and that is the absurd thing, I think, I call Tether the once-in-a-century company because
I remember that.
It functions in the opposite way from other companies. Most of the companies, in order to make more money, they need to create more walled gardens. For us, it's the opposite. In order to make actually more profits, we need to spread our technology and open technology as much as possible. So create the biggest freedom tech movement, hence we're going to make more money. So it's crazy how there is this difference of incentives from most of the companies in the world and us.
What makes me really happy, Paolo, is that you guys are Bitcoiners at the end of the day. So this giant, the digital dollar that the world is using right now, the people, yourself behind that, are Bitcoiners.
Yeah.
And the Bitcoin ethos is behind that. And I think that plays a little bit of a part. But you guys recently launched the USAT, and you guys recently brought on board Bo Hines, who worked with the Trump administration or under the Trump administration. So what's your strategy with the USAT?
If you ask me what is the single most important thing that made the success of Tether is hiring. Tether is not a company made by PhDs. It's not a company made by people that come from insane backgrounds. It's built by people that come from 70 different countries. And we designed our product suite based on the needs of the families of those people. Bo is a very smart guy, very intelligent, and is able to carry forward the same message. And he's very humble, and he's a Bitcoiner. And he's the one that understands the best what are the needs of the people in the United States, right? So this year was the first time for me to come in the United States, how I could pretend to come into the United States and make a strategy for the United States, just myself, right? It's like there would be some arrogance to that. It's like saying, okay, I've been to Argentina, but how we could design a strategy in Argentina. So we are not conquistadors, right? So it's not like we go there and we impose our ways. Is we go there, listen, and we never partner with the institutions. We always go from the ground up, because if you crack that, then you can get sticky success. And so Bo, he's able to carry forward our philosophy in the United States. We work together daily on the strategy. The way I try to describe it is like, if you are in Nigeria or in Kenya, you have the financial rails are between 10 and 30% efficient. Maybe 40. Kenya has this thing, for example, called mobile money, M-Pesa. So they use SMS and like the GSM technology to send money. But it has a limitation because it does not allow people in Kenya to participate to the global economy that is fully digital and now is on-chain and all that. So Nigeria, Kenya might have between 10 and 40% efficiency of financial rails. United States have 90% efficiency of the financial rails. No one ever complained about the slowness of a wire or like a payment of a credit card. Of course, there are parts of the US that are underserved, that's fine, but it's a very limited part of the population compared to other countries like maybe Vietnam or El Salvador, where we have our headquarters. We cannot take the same product we use in emerging markets and in the United States with the same value proposition, because it doesn't make any sense. So we started thinking, what we do have in the United States, what is the thing that is most valuable to Tether is our distribution network. And that is 500 million users out there, outside the United States. What we do have in the United States that is very valuable? Well, we have platforms like Rumble. We almost invested $5 billion in the United States. So we do Bitcoin mining. I think we're going to be the biggest miner in the world at the end of this year. But we invested in Rumble and a few other digital platforms. So we have 50, 60, 70 million active users per month through all our investments. What is the first thing to do is to have all these guys move to a self-custodial wallet with USAT and USDT and Bitcoin inside and Tether Gold. That, in my opinion, is the biggest gift we could do, because the first time we can actually have access to one of the most used social networks in the world. Actually, we prove we are using that opportunity as a template to prove that is a great idea, will be a huge success, will creating a creator's economy with tipping and with the potentially even remittances. Many of the creators might have families abroad as well, so they might get Bitcoin or USDT and they can send it from the wallet to their parents or their kids at home. So we wanted to showcase how easy that is going to be, and we want to explain that there is no reason apart greediness for not doing it.
I'm so excited as a creator, with the Rumble platform, free speech focused, one day your channel could exist and the other day it's off, right?
Yeah.
So I'm super happy. When I heard that, you guys took a stake in Rumble, I was so happy to hear that. Now,
Thank you.
Paolo, do you sleep?
I have a problem. So even tonight, I was waked up 4 or 5 times because I still run Bitfinex, a centralized exchange that process 1 million orders per minute. The more time it takes for you to sleep and get in front of your computer, to wake up and get in front of your computer, if there are issues, they will compound by 1 million orders per minute. And so I've been trained, and that is not a good thing. I've been trained to sleep in basically 1 hour chunks. But, I would want to change that. It's not really heroic. It's something that I should change in my life, because I think sleep is very important. It's been proven that it's one of the most important things for longevity. I don't want to die young, but it's still I wake up, check my messages, and go. And if nothing is wrong, I go back to sleep like this.
I didn't know all of that, but I wanted to ask you because I see how busy you are, and I was like, does he get time to sleep? And now I know you sleep in 1 hour intervals. Now, Paolo, how bullish are you on Bitcoin? And we're sitting at roughly $100,000. Do you believe we're still early? Do you still think this is the early innings? Because that's one of the things I always hear. How do you feel? As the CEO of the most profitable company on planet Earth, how do you feel about Bitcoin? Are we still early? Are you feeling bullish?
Every time we get an interest from, we get interest, we make money on the interest on the US treasuries, we buy Bitcoin and gold. We own altogether with Tether owns more than 110,000, 120,000 Bitcoin. Just last quarter, we bought 8,888 Bitcoin. And I'm very bullish on Bitcoin simply because I like to think about the future in logical steps and most probable outcomes. And I fail to understand, given enough amount of time, it's hard to predict if it's 10 years or 50. But I fail to understand how Bitcoin will not be the most used currency in the world and will be the check and balances of the world as a currency. Today is still, I think we are early because it's a cultural thing, right? If you take a person, you put in front of that person 2 currencies, one that is made by a human and another one that is made by math. So by the physics of the universe. Still, most of the people prefer the one made by humans. To me, it's very crazy because you should trust the universe. You should trust math, right? So you've been taught at school that math is this amazing thing that can create proofs that cannot be destroyed even by God. And on the other side, you have a human that changes every 4 years and might wake up one day and change the monetary policy. But still, people still prefer, and many people prefer the human money. And to me, means that we are very early. But it's one of these things that could happen in the future, and it happened a few times in the past, is the fact there could be an event in the world that will be so catastrophic that will force everyone to be onto Bitcoin very quickly. And not hoping for that, of course, that would be very bad. But I think that we need to think about the fact and what we should be doing in order to prepare for even an event like that. Hopefully there will be a gradual adoption. But I think we are actually not ready for a surge in Bitcoin. So I think the price we got today is the right price for today. Markets are always right, but independent from that, is the right price for today because we are not ready and the society is not ready.
I agree with that. Paolo, final question. How do you want to be remembered? What do you want your legacy to be? 2,000 years from now, 100 years from now, 200 years from now?
As a guy that was ready to die on the hill of freedom.
I love that. Paolo, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me.
We don't play that. We don't play that. don't play around.